Hi, my name's David Wood. I'm a Cambridge-based artist. I've been painting for over 30 years. It's my hope to bring some of the inspirations, some of the sights and scenes, and some of the techniques and methods that I use in order to capture beautiful scenes and locations around Cambridge. So come along with me. I found a Mill Road Cemetery. It's a nice oasis of peace and quiet and beauty off Mill Road, and we can hopefully do some sketching here today. Okay. So I found a rather beautiful scene here today at Mill Road Cemetery. We've got a lot of interest going on visually. We've got the sun coming out, which is brilliant. It's not raining anymore. We've had some showers this morning and it's made everything really quite muddy, but that's okay. We found a nice dry spot. The scene I'm going to choose here is this area here with the gravestone in the foreground. We've got a tree on the left hand side. Got some beautiful springtime colour of the crocuses and the daffodils, and then we've got a nice pathway almost leading through that scene into the distance and the back as well. So that looks like a good scene to start off with. We're going to start off very simply with a pencil sketch, capturing the general areas of form and shape, and then we're going to go into a bit more detail with colour and tone with our watercolours. So talking about the tools, I've got a wide range of tools here, something that I always take with me as I go out sketching. Got some pencils, something to sharpen my pencils with. You can see these are much thicker than the normal pencils which you often see in the art shops. I prefer these because they actually give a much thicker pencil stroke rather than these smaller ones. I always work with soft lead, so this is a 6B. I tend to work with anything from 4B onwards. I've got a range of watercolour brushes here. I've got a little mister which will help soften up the pigments as well. I've also got a set of watercolours here which I keep with me when I go out sketching as well. It's got a wide range of colours. I've found a number of different yellows, a couple of different, two or three different reds, and same with the blues. Got 4 different blues here. So the good thing about this tripod is I can actually move it to any angle I need. I can move it side to side, up and down, and that's perfect for going out sketching. Just move that. Straighten the paper. Okay. There we go. It's all sorted. Let's get started. So we're not going to go into an awful lot of detail with the sketching because this is meant to be a short video, an introduction to help get you inspired and get going on your journey in art and painting. So how I start off a sketch always is to assess the scene in front of me. What elements of the scene do I want to capture on the page here? Think about the aperture of the page. It's oblong. Think about how those elements are going to fit into this page. So it may be that we have to crop some of those elements out. It may be that we leave some elements out completely. But we basically want to be thinking about the placement of all these elements. So the main elements of this scene is this gravestone in the foreground. The path leads into the middle distance to the tree on the left hand side. We've got some nice flora and fauna on the right hand side, and the path disappears from the middle distance into the far distance beyond the graves. And we're not looking for details at the moment, we're just putting the general shapes in, so then we get a good idea of the proportion and the size and whether they're correct or not. So what we can also do as an artist is, because we're not a photographer, we're not capturing the whole truth of the scene. We can actually move things within the scene. So this gravestone on the right hand side, I'm actually going to move it a bit closer into the scene, so it's actually feature into this, make sure it features into this whole page. So I'm actually moving that along. Some people might think it's lying. I don't think it is. I think everything's open for interpretation. We can move things as much as we want, leave things out. And again, I'm just putting some general marks in. So now I've got a general idea where the placement is. You can see there's not a lot of detail, it's very basic. Now I can start, I'm confident with where everything is, I'm happy with it, where everything is placed. I can start going into a bit further detail beyond this general plan and start adding some more detail. So I might shut up for a while and let you just watch and enjoy. So I'm almost come to the end of the basic sketch here, just correcting a few areas. So I'm about to start with applying some colour, applying some tone with the watercolour paint. Got some brushes down here sitting in some water, that'll keep them nice and moist. So when I actually apply some paint on the brush, it goes down in a nice wet wash. Okay, so let's. So what I'm going to start doing is some light colours. I can always go darker when I need to. The good thing about watercolour is the paper itself is your white paint essentially. You're essentially painting with washes of tone and washes of colour, and we can always build up to stronger colours as we go along. So I'm looking at the scene, identifying which areas I perhaps want to keep white. and we've got some nice warms and greens, some warm colours in the bark of the tree, and then some of the gravestones. We've got some nice greens and reds in the earth as well. So I want to try and capture those colours because that's part of the scene which I'm aiming to capture. Right, so let's get started. So I'm going to dip into some yellow ochre. In future episodes, I'll be going into much more about colour theory, but I don't want to be getting into too much detail at the moment. Let's get some burnt umber as well. So I'm mixing the colour for the tree here, and I want some blue on there as well. Now you might say, oh well, I can't see any blue in the scene, but as an artist I can see the blue. I always believe the more you paint, the more colours you see, essentially. And we're also thinking about colour theory as well at this moment in time, how the colours are going to react to one another. So I'm going to start off with the lightest colour, which is the yellow ochre. Let's wash that in. And the good thing about how the day has progressed is actually quite dry at the moment, so I don't have to worry about rain splattering on the page and making a whole mess of my painting. It's quite warm as well, and so that'll help the watercolour dry a lot more. So I'm being very loose with the colour, and just generally putting in some pale washes. Always remember, it's just a sketch. It doesn't have to be perfect. But we do want to get a general idea of what it is that's inspiring us in the scene. The colour down here. Now let's check where that paper's drying. That looks dry enough. Let's add some strong yellow. It doesn't matter whether you capture it completely with these flowers. I just want to indicate them as a reference for later. It's just a sketch, so we just need to bear that in mind. Just block all that in here. Some daffodils aren't open yet, so include that there. Let's get some violet onto our palette. So what I'm going to use is a pre-mixed pigment already. I can't remember what the colour of this pigment is. It might be Purple Lake or something like that, but that's just the kind of hue and tone we're looking for. Some over here. We can always use artistic license and dab some elsewhere. Just have an excuse to add colour. What I might do is go back and with a little more green just to finish off that area. And then after that we can sign it. I think that will do. That's a good effort for a sketch. It's captured a lot of the scene which we wanted to. It's captured some of the light as well as the colour. I think we can be happy with that. All we need to do is just write down the place in which we've sketched, the date, because it's like a diary basically. A sketchbook is like a diary, so include the date and then perhaps include any other information which you want to do, whether if it is a diary or whether you want to include how much you enjoy the day, that kind of thing. So I hope you enjoyed this sketch. It's been a pleasure to be able to show you these techniques and this method. Hope you'll be able to do some of your own, and good luck with it all, and hopefully see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe and like the button on the YouTube channel, and share it with your friends.